I want to stick with the topic of automation that we started with that question, although great information and insights on digital transformation aspect of it. But Abid, speaking of automation, that was one of the dimensions encompassed in Modus work with your organization, EVERSANA. Dive into the relevant parts of that engagement for us, would you? And let's start with you, Abid, but love to hear from you as well, Greg, as we go through this.
Yeah. So, and going back a little bit, kind of the background, as we looked at the transformation that's happening with AI, and we've been in the AI space uh, for more than a decade at this point in the pharma space, and we looked at in every way AI can help optimize the current processes and add efficiency and value and solve some real life challenges. So there are, of course, a lot of operational challenges. There are a lot of other types of challenges as well, and some of those are solvable with AI. Some of those are solvable through automation, through technology, not necessarily AI related. And then sometimes it's a combination of those things. So one of the things that is a huge bottleneck when it comes to being able to deliver content on time in the life sciences space is the MLR process. It's the medical, legal, regulatory process that every piece of content has to go through before it can be made publicly available. And the process is, understandably time consuming, because it's very important that every piece of content is reviewed, and we have to make sure that there's nothing that should not be said is ever said. And because of the process that we have to go through, there are usually many rounds, and sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes months, depending on how much content has to be approved. So one of the things that we wanted to tackle early on, even before Gen AI, was, can we use AI to somehow automate this entire process? The challenge in the past was, because most of the AI solutions in the past, the traditional NLP-based solutions, were oftentimes keyword-based. And keyword-based solutions can work in many different ways, but it's not very good at understanding context. And when it comes to large amount of content, context is very important. Any sort of language that's delivered, whether it's for the patient side or on the HCP side, the context of all of those different things, sometimes there are tiny nuances that changes the meanings of things. And keyword-based NLP is not very good at those types of things. And that's where large language models come in. Because large language models or LLMs have been trained on vast amount of data, vast amount of language, it does very good job of understanding context and differentiating various contexts, right? So, and when ChatGPT came out, even before that, with the previous earlier models like BERT, for example, LLMs, that was one of the big focus of LLMs, and how do you understand context and differentiate things based on that. So as ChatGPT came out, then GPT-4 and the newer versions of transformer models, not just the GPT-4 models. There are other models from, for example, Anthropic's Claude, and then there are the Gemini models. There are smaller large language models as well. So we tapped into that technology to be able to understand content and do a few things. One is being able to understand what claims exist in any sort of pre-approved documents. Those claims become the source of truth for any new content that can be generated. So once the new content is generated, the other part of it is, how do you, from an operational standpoint, make it easy for someone who's reviewing that document to be able to fact check things. So being able to provide automatically references and annotations for anything that looks like a claim. And claims can be many things. Claims can be efficacy related. Claims can be safety related. We have identified about 13, 14 different types of claims that are very common in practice. And Gen AI can now very quickly look at those documents, understand and extract those claims, rewrite those claims in a very human readable form. And then also the next step is, when any new documents are uploaded, it can identify those types of claims, even though they're written in a different format, they're written in different language. But if it matches the claim in some way, it will make that connection, and it will automatically do the annotations and references for those. And that's the work that we're doing with Modus Create currently. So not only is it a huge time savings, but there's also an accuracy factor to it as well. So when humans are working, and as you know, anytime there is manual task, a lot of manual work, humans are also prone to making mistakes. AI or GenAI is not perfect, but it also doesn't get tired, right? So we can provide a lot of data, we can redo things, it's a very scalable process. We can change up a prompt, for example, if needed, and run it again on the entire data set. And it will do it again. It won't really complain about being tired, which is, one of the big differences in how we actually look at things. And that's something that I also want to touch upon. Not only is it an efficiency play, we're able to now rethink the overall process. Right? So because we're using AI in a certain way, some of the old processes that we had, we're thinking about them and asking ourselves, does it really make sense? Should we have some other different process? When it comes to content creation, because we have all of these pre-approved claims that are very quickly and easily generated, can we actually use those claims repository now and generate new content by using GenAI? So overall, of course, there's huge amount of efficiency. There are a lot of other types of gains as well from an accuracy standpoint. Now that said, you still need human oversight for all of this. It cannot be all just AI and creating claims and also providing annotations or approving documents. You still need human oversight to do it. It is very much an assistant to the human who does that kind of work. But it is meant to make it much faster for the human to review the documents and do the work that they're doing. So overall, the opportunity with this from a content delivery standpoint, content approval standpoint, we're already seeing huge improvement compared to the previous processes and huge amount of efficiency gains as well.
And Greg, from the Modus perspective, what stood out about this engagement for you?
Yeah, this one's really exciting with us, and this one's really exciting for us. We're so glad to be partnering with EVERSANA on this one because it's such a good example of automation using AI. I don't want to repeat everything Abid just told you because I think he did a great job of explaining the value that it's providing. But generally, this is a highly scalable tool that they've got that's going to, as we understand it, significantly reduce the manual labor that's required to do this job. Yet it's still keeping a human in the loop. And as we understand, the business impact that's going to come is coming directly from accelerating this whole content approval process for medical claims. So it's easy to associate the gains that you're getting here with real business value. Yeah, this is a great example for us, and one that we're excited to be working on with EVERSANA.